All right, let's get right into it here on tonight's analysis. I want to look at Spider 65-minute chart here because we have perfect framework here going into tomorrow and this entire week here. As you can see on your screen here, we do have all-time high level at 550, right? We have the gap area at 540. We have a recent low at 542, 543 or so. Recent swing high at 546. And you see the micro-term moving average here we're just right underneath it. And we're right on the short-term moving average. So this is a perfect framework going into tomorrow.
Perfect.
And we did tumble lower. And then today we gapped up. Gap was filled. And that filled gap did act as very much pretty much same, right? So down gap got filled, acted as resistance. Up gap got filled, acted as support. Came down because of the resistance, went up because of the support. So now that we did see a little bit of move here, what can we expect going into tomorrow? Because this is a vicinity, as we can see, we have a little bit of a rising pivot here, connected here and here, here, along with my short-term moving average. And we're right underneath a micro-term. And as you can see, you can look at this as some kind of a 2-3 days of consolidation, possibly similar to this. But only difference is during this time, we were above the micro-term moving average. Here, we're actually below the micro-term moving average. So what bulls need to do to reclaim the micro-term sentiment back to bullish, we'll need to reclaim and reprogram the micro-term to support the buyers. The oscillator, what I've noticed today, as I was preparing for this video, is that oscillator actually have slight higher lows here. You can see this is where we saw that extreme oversold. That oscillator really went all the way down to the bottom of its band. And you can see here it's slightly elevated. And that was the low during June. So May low here, June low here. As we get close to July, you can see that rising support held.
Perfect.
You've noticed how that oscillator does not come all the way back down to the bottom of its band like it did here in May, but it gets slight elevation, not getting to the bottom of its band, and then it finds support, reverses back up, and that becomes the low for that month, right? So again, that's the May low, June low, and currently we're sitting right on it. And that oscillator double bottom is extremely interesting here, especially for the fact that we're right on the rising support line on that oscillator. It's actually kind of rare to see because this does not happen a lot, especially on the 65-minute chart, because in the 65-minute chart, the price action can get a lot choppier versus, let's say I'm looking at daily chart or weekly chart. And so it's extremely rare sight here, especially going all the way back to, on the 65-minute chart, going all the way back to 2 months earlier, going back to May and June, and understanding the fact that that cross was the low for May, that cross was the low for June, and to prevent from breaking below this support here, it had to do that little maneuver double bottom just so that it can honor that support right on this pivot here. As you can see, that pivot actually coming all the way back to a middle of May here, right there, two touches, right? 2 touches in middle of May, as you can see. And then 2 touches recently here, last week or so. And then we just got 2 touches yesterday and today. And that's what we're holding. You know, when we did see that extreme oversold during May, we're below all the moving averages. See that? During June, we held the long-term moving average on the 65-minute chart. You see that long-term. Currently, we're above not only the long-term, not only the mid-term, we're above the short-term as well. We're only below the micro-term moving average, which is the aqua color there. And that tells us that, you know, as the oscillator gets resetted, right? As the oscillator reset, when I say reset, I mean, the bulls are tired. They need to bring that oscillator all the way to the bottom of his van, reset that oscillator before bring that back up so that bulls can make another run higher. But that pullback, right? It gets shallower and shallower. And that's what we call an uptrend. And that's what happens in an uptrend, where that dip is getting bought quicker than it has been in the recent past, which is June and May. What bulls are looking for is an upside move, preferably in the first 2 hours in the morning. They need to see, you do see that we have that cross here on that oscillator. They do need to see that oscillator fully advancing and fully breaking out to the upside in that little mini double bottom oscillator signal there. And if that plays out, and obviously, you know, it's the oscillator is going to follow the price action. If we do see that continuation to the upside, because we did see about 3 hours of run here, we should be able to break above the micro term and the 546 here. Right? You can see if you look at it with the oscillator here, you can see bulls will need to break above the micro term and hold above it. So you want to see something like this first 2 hours, and if this thing comes back down, let's say throughout the intraday tomorrow, we want to see that micro term acting as new support, and that's when you're going to see the real reprogramming from the buyers to reprogram that micro term to see, can it really support the buyers once again. And then if we bounce back up, and in that process, we would see that oscillator advancing and stretching to the upside. And then at that point, the reversal has been completed and bulls are eyeing on the all-time high level at 550 or so. Perfect. Just keep in mind where the market is. This is a level that I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I won't be surprised to see any kind of shenanigan down gap or any kind of down move. Let's say we gap down below 542.50, below the short term. I would expect this thing will come quickly to 540 to challenge this down gap area. If we do see a down gap tomorrow morning below 542, it's the sentiment is going to shift very, very quickly. You're going to see this oscillator whipsawing quickly coming back down, and things will get hectic for this entire week, if not next week or two. So as long as there's no shenanigan downside move, down gaps, if everything plays out conventionally, and then I think everything looks bullish here, but bulls need to see a follow through to the upside.